Welcome to How to Observe Any Biblical Text with Logos Bible Software Part 1. The reason I'm making this a Part 1 is I think this topic is huge, and I'm probably going to revisit this before the year end or at the beginning of next year and pick up where we left off and do even some more. But I wanted to at least get a good start because there is a lot. As I got into this, I got overwhelmed by how much we can do with the Logos tool when it comes to just observing the text. And so we're going to try to hit the main areas tonight, and then when we do part 2, we'll hit some of the other areas. And if you have suggestions for those other areas, feel free to email me at webinars@LearnLogos.com, and we'll be sure to include some of those suggestions in the next part 2. So what are tonight's topics? Well, let me bring in the Logos book and show you those table of contents. Okay, so we have the introduction. That's where we're at right now. We're going to talk about recommended resources and show you how you can discover some key books in your library that already you have that can inform you on this topic that you can use to improve your skill set in observing. Now, we're going to do an observation workflow, give you kind of a methodology, a step-by-step approach. And so that's what's listed over here at the left. We're going to show you how to identify a passage. We're going to show you how to create what I call the Uber observation layout and then plan your note strategy. We're going to talk about using filters. We're going to talk about how to focus on phrases, then on words. Then we're going to extend our observations to grammars, cross-references. We'll talk about literary typing, making theological observations, talk about making discourse observations, talk about the propositional outline, and then going further with the special data type search. This is a lot to cover tonight, and we'll probably go the full hour and a half, but we definitely will be done within 2 hours. Okay, so let's first begin with the most important question. What's in your library? And this is really a great question because Logos continues to throw more and more books at us. If we upgrade, we get all these extra books, and who knows what's in there unless you literally go through book by book. So what I've done is I've given you 2 rules here to create 2 specialized collections. Think of the first one as a basic Bible study inductive. These are going to be your basic introductions to Bible study books. The second group, hermeneutical and exegetical, are going to be your intermediate to advanced books on Bible study. So let's go ahead and open up this collection so you can see it. So I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to go to Collections, and I'm going to left-click on the tab and drag that over to the right so half my screen has this shaded area. That'll split the window and make it easy for me to see both windows. And then the first one is going to be Basic Bible Study Inductive. Now, I've already created this rule, so let me go ahead and just open that up and select it. Now, you can notice that the rule is a little complicated. I have in parentheses title, quote, how to study the Bible, quote, so make sure you put the phrase in quote, space, all capital letters, or space, title, quote, Bible study, quote, and then a right parenthesis. So that's the first section of the rule. Then I have and space subject quote Bible hyphen study quote. And as you can see, you'll get a limited list depending on the size and depth and breadth of your library. Your resources may be more or less than mine. But this will at least identify those books in your library that deal with this topic at an introductory level. And this will be very, very helpful if you're new to this arena, if you're looking to just kind of refresh yourself or review the fundamentals. Now, let me go to the second rule. Once you get that rule entered in, just click New. That makes sure you save it when you do it that way. And let me go to this next one, hermeneutical exegetical. So I'm going to paste the rule in there, or the name, and then I'm going to scroll down and get a copy of that and paste it in there. So this one's a little more complex, because the way Logos tagged their books, there wasn't an easy way. This word exegesis got used in multiple ways. But I'll make this personal book available. So with that being said, let me close down the collections. And let me show you a real simple search that you can run against these collections that'll make observations a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select my rule. So we'll choose the first one, Bible study. And so here we go, Bible study inductive. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in heading, observe, with a little star, or large text, observe. Again, this way with the little star, I can get observing, observe, observations, all the above. Now, what you're going to get back for some search results are insights from various chapters talking about observation. So this is a wonderful way to take existing resources, some that you may have never read, and to focus in on the observation process. Now, some of these are literally observations for a particular text. That's not going to be very helpful. But as we go through there, you can see that there's going to be some wonderful, let me go to my resource here. Here we got Bible Study Made Easy. And here we go, open the observations. Let's go to How to Study the Bible. That might be a little bit better. Yeah, here we go. So we click on observation. And so here is a chapter on making observations and giving you some practice. So this is a wonderful, quick, and easy way to find out what your books say about the observation process. Now, let's go over to Basic Bible Study. And by the way, thanks, Nathan, for adding that rule to the Faith Life. That makes it easy. Now I'm going to do the exegetical one and just switch the rule here, or the collection we're going to search. And now we've got the same search, but against a different collection. And I'm just going to scroll down here and Introduction to Biblical Hermeneutics. And it goes, observe the reason why a command, custom, or historical example is given a text. So here's, again, some guidelines that this author is providing to give us some additional insights on how to make observations. This one, Inductive Bible Study, Comprehensive Guide to Practical Hermeneutics, gives you some more chapters on how to do observation, what are the questions you need to ask, and so forth. And so putting all your Bible study and hermeneutical and exegetical books in these collections and then searching on the topic of observation using this heading or large text search will only search the chapter titles, which is where the main sections are. So this will be a wonderful way to just read up and refresh yourself and give you some fresh ideas way beyond what this webinar can provide. Now let's begin with a workflow. The first thing you got to do when you observe any biblical text is to identify the passage you're going to study, you're going to observe. Now there's a wonderful tool in Logos that can make this so easy. So I'm going to go to Tools, I'm going to go to Passage Analysis, and down at the lower left I'm going to click on Compare Pericopes. Now I'm going to maximize this for easy reading, and you'll see that I just have several Bibles. I have my ESV, the NAS, the NIV, and the New King James. Now you certainly can add and subtract Bibles by clicking here on Pericope Sets. And you can see there's a whole bunch of Bibles in there, and you don't really need to check all of them. There'll be too much information. What I've discovered is that really these 3 or 4 cover the gamut of variety of section or paragraph or pericope breaks. My favorite is New King James because they have the most detailed breaks. Probably my second one is NASB. In this case, it's not very detailed, but normally it is. So what can we do? What can we learn from this? Well, the white line shows you where there's a division. And in this case, there's all a division agreed at starting at James 1. So if we were to back up to the previous book, there would be a break there. Now, verse 1, ESV treats that as a whole separate section, which is the greeting, and that makes sense. The NIV does the same thing, just doesn't give it a title, and so does the New King James. The next section, only the New King James, breaks it down from verses 2 to 8. Then it breaks up the rich and poor, 9 through 11, and then it goes loving God on our trials, 12 through 18. Now, if we scroll down, we can see that the NIV agrees that verse 18 is the end of the trial section. Same with the ESV. But notice the NASB goes all the way to the end of the chapter, verse 27. So the NASB sees the testing of faith as the whole chapter, less the greeting, of course. And so this can help you determine the area or the section that you're going to study. Now, I've decided for this webinar, we're just going to look at James, 2 through 8 as the main one. We'll look at 1 as well. But this is a great and easy way to identify the section to study. Okay, so use the Pericope tool to identify your passage. Now, another way to do this is in Logos 6 is with the new Bible Outline Browser. So if we go to Tools, and we go to all interactive resources, okay, all interactive resources. That'll generate a list of all our interactive resources, and we just got to look for the Bible Outline Browser, which is right here, third one on the list because it's alphabetical. Now, I'm going to close down my library and leave the Bible Outline Browser open. Now, you got to put in your passage, so let's put in James 1. In fact, what I like to do is just put in James, just the whole book. And then you'll notice that right away we can see some sections. We have 1:1, 2 through 18. Now, if you click the little chevron or the two greater than signs over here, you can see more commentaries. So we can compare now the section breaks. So I'm going to go to the Believer's Bible Commentary, 1:1, 1:2 through 17. We'll go to the Bible Exposition. He's got it on 1:1. Now, because there's one chapter, notice a little triangle there. If you see a little triangle, that means you can click to expand it, and there's more breaks. So there's 1 through 12, and then if you click it again, you'll see the Bible passage. So they break it up 1:12, 13 through 27. And then the Bible Guide, here we go, 2 through 18, and so forth. So here, the Bible Knowledge Commentary breaks it up 1:1, 2 through 12. So be aware of this amazing little tool called the Bible Outline Browser, because it's another way for you to not only look at outlines, but see where there are section breaks. And this makes it a whole lot easier to identify those as you go through. Okay, so let me close that down. And let's now move into our next section, which is creating the Uber observation layout. Now, this one is a little bit of work. So what I'm going to do is just open up the layout outright. So let me go to Layouts, and let me locate my new layout here. It's alphabetical order, Uber observation. It'll take a moment to load, and then I'll walk you through each element and why it's in here and explain. Okay, so the first one at the left is highlighting. So go to Tools and go to Highlighting, and make sure that opens up in your workspace. The next one is you need to have a preferred Bible. Now, mine's a New American Standard. Yours may be something else. So go ahead and open up your preferred Bible. Now, I recommend having a set of notes, something that you can type some additional information in. You may prefer to work in Word, which is what I do, but I still like to have a note file open just for convenience. So let's go to Documents. Let's click on Notes. Once you do that, your note file opens. Click on the pencil icon, and let's just type in James. We'll put in 2 through 8, since that's the section that most of them are coming back as. So far, so good. All right, now comes the more complicated part. Over at the right, I have several resources. Now, I chose them specifically for some additional benefits. The first one, I floated my mouse so you can see the title, is the Lexham Greek English Interlinear New Testament, also known as the LGNTI. So if you go to the library browser and you type in LGNTI, you'll get two back, either one or two back. You'll get the interlinear or the one with the SBL edition. You can choose either one. They're exactly the same resource. And you want to add that to your window, your layout, and you can move it over here. And then notice that I only have the Greek and the English. Now, to change that, you need to click here on Inline Interlinear. And when you click on Inline Interlinear, you'll see that I've got inline checked, and then I have manuscript and English literal translation. Those are the only two that are checked. And the reason I had that is so it's kept simple. I like having the Greek and the English together so I can see both side by side. The next resource is the Logos LXX. So if you go up to the library browser, type in Logos LXX, and you scroll down. In fact, I'm going to change my browser to the cover view so it's a little bit easier to see.